So a lot of people are upset though with the Dolphins' performance yesterday. Although
Why
a lot
would
of
they
the
be upset,
starters, a
Dan?
lot
You
of the
were there,
starters,
right? You were boots to the ground.
yeah, boots to the ground. I want to look at the good and the bad and kind of explain why some people might be a little bit upset. I mean, 3 points, you have nothing to really cheer about. The good, you got to the red zone 3 times,
Okay.
pretty easily too.
The bad.
You didn't score on any of those, including a Mike White interception
Yeesh.
that he kind of rushed and kind of tried to fit into it too tight of a zone.
Look, you're not gonna get athleticism with Michael White. With Mike White, Mikey Blanco's not gonna give you athleticism. But what he's gonna do, he's gonna stand in that pocket and he's gonna throw the ball. And Mike White has a better arm than people give him credit for.
No, I think this is what I noticed from Mike White yesterday. The good and the bad. Here is the good. When he doesn't think, when he just plays, when he reacts quickly, when he acts decisively, he's a very good quarterback. When you put him in a situation where he has to think and maybe kind of decipher a few things, you start seeing his head kind of move and the ball kind of wobble and go all over the place. So he needs to be put in the type of situations where just play, because when he has to think or when he gets down to the red zone and things kind of get tight, he seemed to be, and maybe it's because he's with the new team. Maybe it's just because it's the preseason, early in the season, but he seems to get a little flustered and tries to force things and overthink things a little too much when he has to really, really think. So the good is he seems to have it when he just plays. Just when he thinks, it just kind of gets a little defense. It was okay yesterday. This is the bad thing about it, though.
What's the bad
The
thing?
whole entire game. The Atlanta Falcons played their third string quarterback, Logan Woodside.
Okay.
Logan Woodside, 14 for 23, 146 yards. Not so great. Not so great.
Yeah, but the Dolphins weren't playing any of their starters,
Right.
bro.
That's true. It was really 6-3 in the fourth quarter until this isn't a bad thing. Skylar Thompson did not look very good. Skylar Thompson looked like a third string quarterback.
All right, from your perspective, what was the problem? And I don't need you to. I don't. When I say your perspective, it's not X's and O's. They're just telling me like, what was he not going through the progressions? Was he
wasn't really going through progressions, trying to force balls in places, kind of seemed to get a little bit flustered, used his athleticism a little bit. I will give him some good right there. He had a couple of runs and he did have some somewhat big passes, but at the most part, it just looked very it looked like it reeked of a lot of effort. Like he was trying really, really hard.
And you think it should, for a guy who was in his second year in that offense, you felt like he should have been more comfortable?
He should have been more comfortable. And like, I guess last year he balled out in the preseason and played decent when he filled in for Tua Tagovailoa and Teddy Bridgewater last year. He did not look like the player he was last year. Maybe because it was the second half of the game. He played the entire second half, by the way. Kind of came in at first, made you think, and then he had 2 interceptions, 10 for 16, 104 yards, 2 interceptions. Just didn't look like the Skylar Thompson we were expecting. Like I said, he threw a pick 6. It just looked a little disjointed. It just looked a little bit disjointed, but I will say this about the Dolphins. And once again, how much can you take from game 1 of the preseason? It looks like they were really dedicated to the running game. Like you saw a lot of Myles Gaskin. When I say a lot, 7 carries, 57 yards, 8.1 average. But it seemed like they were making that concerted effort to get the ball going. Devon Achane, like I said, he got 10 carries. Chris Brooks, he had 5 carries. Chris Brooks looked okay in those 5 carries. 5 carries, 24 yards, about 5 yards of carry. And Skylar Thompson, like I said, he had some rushes there. They had some penalties towards the end. The game was pretty much penalty free up until about the fourth quarter when things kind of started getting a little bit messy.
So the O-line, well, I mean,
O-line
okay,
did not give a lot of time. And that's what really not that Mike White and Skylar Thompson held the ball a little too long. They didn't have a lot of time, but they also, I'll say this, Mike White made an effort to try to get rid of it. When he felt the pressure coming, he tried to get rid of it. Skylar Thompson just took it, man. That was one of the other things that disappointed me. I thought that Skylar Thompson should have maybe had a little more presence. And I know you're saying, oh, he didn't have a lot of time. He did not, but I felt as though he did have somewhat enough time to just get rid of the ball. He actually did get called for some intentional groundings. And then one time he got called, but they took it back because there was a guy there. But there were sometimes I thought he held on to the ball a little bit too long, maybe didn't have the pocket presence that you were hoped to have in a quarterback. But yes, the offensive line did not look super great. I will say that, which is, as we all know, I'm not telling him any secrets. That is a major major concern for the Miami Dolphins. And with that being a concern, you will probably see all of 0 minutes from Tua Tagovailoa this preseason.
Oh, you think that?
Does he play next game?
Well, okay.
I would like to see it.
You know, it's the first preseason game, and they didn't do the Dolphins any favor by only having them play one preseason game at home.
Right.
So we're fans who are, I don't know, I don't want to do that. You know, maybe this was the only game a fan can go to, but they weren't going to see the starters.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Depending on how the rest of the preseason, training camp goes and the preseason, you got Waddle got hurt, and they said that the report is it's not as serious as they thought. Just a mild mid fracture.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't expect to see him for the rest of the not training camp, but don't see him. Don't expect to see him for the rest of the preseason. And we already know what Tua. He's the most important player on your squad.
Yeah.
So bubble wrap him.
Yep.
Bubble wrap him. Protect him.
Prove anything in the preseason.
But do you want to see some type of continuity with that offensive line?
I would like to see a series.
Because I don't think you're going to see Teron Armstead, but the rest of the line needs work, and they're going to need work together against somebody other than the Dolphins' defensive line.
Andy Reid came out and said he's going to play his starters the whole first quarter tomorrow against the Saints. That means Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, well,
he said it.
I don't understand why, but
I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the game. Why are you questioning him?
Well, they're different.
Yeah, everybody has their own style.
But they're different as well. They're implementing new players as well, but players from the outside. Sky Moore's in his second year. You don't have the same receivers that you did that won the Super Bowl this past year. So I can understand you want to get a continuity and get the chemistry going with Patrick, Travis, and get them to know the type of audibles that might be called in a game situation. That makes sense. Dolphins are returning a majority of the starters from last year. So it's totally different in KC.
Yeah, and you got to figure
these guys. I don't know if the only way I would play them is to say I want to see the continuity with the best 5 offensive linemen. So you see a half maybe or a quarter. But I wouldn't play them next week against who's it, Houston?
For the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, and then they play. I think they finished the.
No, they play the Jaguars next week.
Oh, they play the Jaguars.
No, you're right. Texans and Jaguars.
And then you're right. And then you finish. I think I would play the Jaguars because week 3. Think about it now. They took
they get the week
the
off.
last preseason game off. Their final preseason game, I believe, is Saturday, August 26th.
Saturday, 25th? August 26th.
26th.
And then
they don't play again until
the September
4/25. September 10th.
Don't get a home game until September 24th.
So they're basically off for 15 days.
Yeah, it's plenty of time.
Yeah, I think you play week 3, the preseason game. You may see the offense maybe for a quarter or maybe for a half at most, just to get that continuity going with the offensive line.
I do want to talk a little bit about the positives and negatives of the secondary. Noah Igbenogany. A lot of people saying this is the year he's going to turn the corner. He looked like Noah Igbenogany yesterday. I will say that, Vlad.
Yeah,
he got picked on. He got picked on a little bit by the third string quarterback.
How about my boy Cam?
That I'm going to say it is good and it is bad.
What's the good? Give me the good.
The good, he was in position pretty much every single play. The bad, he didn't always make the play. He did get burned. And when I say burned, like they caught the passes, but he was right there. He was always, and that's the thing I like, is that the potential is there. You could see he was always in position and he was right there. Some of the passes they caught were pinpoint throws. You couldn't have thrown them any better. But every single play, Cam Smith was in position. It's just some of those plays, it was a great pass, and some of those plays he just whiffed on and missed. So I'll take that. That's something to grow on. First game as a pro in preseason, game 1 with a lot on you. They went after you. You were in position. You stopped some. You got burnt on some. And when I say burnt, I don't mean like poorly. It's just you were in position and they caught the pass. So that's a positive. I felt a lot better leaving the stadium about Cam Smith than I did Noah Igbenogany.
Did Eli Apple get any action or?
Eli Apple did get some action.
Okay.
Got a couple tackles, a couple defended passes. They caught some passes on him too. But I mean, that's the league. You're going to get some passes caught on you, unless you're like Superman, like who are like Deion Sanders and Darrelle Revis. If you're not one of those guys, then you're going to get some passes on you. So that was the positive. I will say I was
You were high on Cam Smith than anybody else.
Higher on Cam Smith over Noah
Noah
Igbenogany.
and Eli.
Eli was Eli. I thought he's exactly what I expected him to be.
All right. So who do you think is gonna be an opposite of X?
At the beginning of the season, it's gonna be
it's
gonna be Eli
the
Apple.
majority of the season.
Towards the end, I do expect, from what I saw yesterday.
Oh, okay. Were you looking at the sideline and see how Jalen Ramsey was?
He was not on crutches.
Okay. Well, okay.
He looked cool. All
right.
But I expect Cam Smith at the end of the season to be our guy. I do.
Okay.
I thought he was in position. He just needs to work out some of the finer little things. River Craycraft, I thought, looked good as a receiver. Braxton Berrios. I mean, I'll say this: Braxton Berrios looked like Braxton Berrios. He's going to be your guy. He's going to be a possession guy. He's going to get in there. He's going to make those catches.
Who was special teams? It's
A-Chain. Devon A-Chain, definitely. He had an opening kickoff return for 38 yards. He even said after the game, we can hear it in the montage, that he says, kickoff's my thing. I love it. I take a lot of pride in that. He seems like he's that.
So do you think A-Chain? So Berrios is not going to be a kick return or a punt return or anything like that?
Yeah, he's going to return punts.
Just punts.
A-Chain's going to do kickoffs.
Okay.
I think most likely that's how it's going to work. And I'm cool with that.
I missed the game last night, guys. I was working and I was also watching the Inter Miami game. So that's why I'm asking Dan all these questions.
I was very impressed with Eric Izukama. I thought he was great. He did some end rounds. He caught some good passes. He was impressive. I thought he was the MVP of the offense, even above Devon A-Chain and whoever else you might want to put in there. Myles Gaskin. I thought that he looked explosive. He looked good. He looked sharp. He ran good routes. I know last year a lot of people were saying this at the same time about him, but I thought it was good. But once again, it's so hard to tell when you're going up against third stringers and guys that might not even make the league. So there was good, there was bad. Like I said, what I took away, Cam Smith was in position for his plays. Maybe didn't always make the plays. Noah Igbenogany looked like Noah Igbenogany. Mike White needs to not think and just play. Skylar Thompson, we'll see. There were some points in the game. I mean, it didn't.
So right now, you give Mike White the
I would. Oh yeah, definitely.
The edge right now.
I would definitely. And like he was driving the team down the field. He would get to the red zone as just things just bogged down, and then they get into like a 4th and 2 situation, and the offensive line would fall apart, or they wouldn't get the 2 yards and stuff like that. Mike White did force on the first drive. He was just right down the field. He forced a pass in, and you could see him forcing it. It's like don't no, and they got an and it deflected, and Atlanta got an interception. And it was kind of one of those things. And then Atlanta's kicker is just absolute garbage. He missed 2 extra points, missed a field goal. What's his name? Sinshuku. I can't remember his name. Let's see. I've got the depth chart in front of me.
Young Hoku.
He was garbage. I mean, you can't miss 2 extra points in a game, man. That's just absolutely terrible. So
that's a young ho.
I mean, you think about it though. If you're the kicker and you're in Miami, it's the first preseason game of the year. You're probably out and about, man.
Not Young Hoku. No, man, he's not out and about, bro.
Why not?
Man. He's not out and about.
First
of all, it's not gonna affect him. He lives in Atlanta. Atlanta's one of those cities as well. No, bro.
But you don't have the beach. You don't have Miami.
No.
I don't like Atlanta to begin with, so it's not my favorite. Alpharetta, Buckhead, Miami, Atlanta. Come on, man. You know me. I don't know. But yeah, so let's just see how things go. Let's stay healthy.
What happened to you in Atlanta, man?
I mean, I'm from New Orleans, man. I don't like Atlanta. I did get left at a bar one time and spent the whole night trying to walk myself home, but that wasn't Atlanta's fault. And then there was this one girl.
Was it the Blue Oyster?
No, I was not at the Blue Oyster. I know that joke. It's not true. Now there's this one girl though, man. She was fronting, bro. She was fronting. It was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's. No, it was New Year's Eve. Yeah, it was after the LSU Miami game. Peach Bowl.
Oh, so you were living it up, man. You were high. You were high on life after that beatdown. Was it 40-3 or 40-7?
40-3.
Yeah, and then
she was fronting though.
Oh, was it a UM girl? Was it a Miami girl?
No, Atlanta girl.
Oh, okay.
Frontin'.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Fronting.
All right.
Front. Falcons. I like the Braves, and I don't have anything against the
I get it.
Hawks.
So I understand why you hate Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's a Saints and Falcons rivalry.
And, like,
Okay.
girl, she was fronting. I still
All
have her
right.
on Facebook. I'm
But
sending her a message. You're fronting, girl. Everybody.
back to
What?
the Dolphins and Falcons preseason game. Was Chosen Anderson
Nope.
on the field?
Nope. Did not see him. Did not see any of those receivers. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be WR3. Is it going to be Braxton Berrios? Is it going to be Chosen Anderson?
Well,
Robbie Anderson?
To me, if you're not in uniform
means you're
in week
probably
1, that kind of means you're pretty much
number 3.
I don't know if you're number 3, but they think you're that good. You've pretty much solidified a roster spot that you don't have to showcase anything in week 1.
Well, that's cool.
You're probably going to be involved when more of the starters do take snaps or take any type of snap.
Well, that's good, because then if you have at 4 and 5 Braxton Berrios and Eric Uzukama, from what I saw yesterday, that's pretty good.
That's why I'm shocked that Berrios played, but I also know this is
he had a bobo on his head after the game.
Who?
Braxton Berrios.
Don't worry, he has a beautiful nurse to aid him.
Well, I mean, he said he got just caught up in his helmet and stuff like that, so nothing to worry about. Nobody freak out. Nobody freak out.